Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty, guests on Keel heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker Hotline. Mr. Dale Sibley is the Caddo Parish Registrar of Voters. Mr. Dale, welcome back to Keel. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir.
You are very welcome, and thank you for having me.
Dale, let me ask you about mail-in balloting. There's been a big skirmish in Baton Rouge with regard to Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin's plan and lawmakers, whether they would approve it. Where are we now? Who will be able to mail in ballot?
Currently, Aaron, we have to go back to the existing statute, which outlines certain categories or conditions that will allow you to vote by mail-in ballot. Principally among those is if you're age 65 or older, you can automatically qualify. There are provisions for soldiers and sailors and students who are in school out of the parish. There are conditions that if you're going to be out of the parish or out of the state during the early voting period or the actual election day, you're entitled to vote by mail-in voting. If anyone wants specific information, we have information on our website at caddovoter.org. The Secretary of State's website, Go Vote, also has those conditions. So what we basically, the discussion between the Secretary and the Governor deals with the COVID-related excuses that were expanded last time, and this time there's a question of whether or not they will allow those additional COVID-related excuses qualify someone to vote by mail.
They have not ironed that out yet, correct?
No, they haven't. The Secretary submitted a plan, and as you guys have heard, the Governor is not very enthused about it. The legislature has their stance, and the latest word we've gotten is this expectation is that it will end up in court.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Dale Bell, bear with me here for just a second, because I'm old and I don't do.
He can vote. He can vote by mail. By the way,
I don't do computers very well, Mr. Dale, and it's also confusing and frightening to me because the robots could come to my house and eat me. Wouldn't it be easier just to have my great grandson drive me to the polls? Explain to me the process for people who are literally, and you know what I'm talking about, just so intimidated by going online, because old people don't like that.
Yeah, that's a good point, and we've heard that. But the good thing about it is with mail-in voting, you don't have to do it online. Online is an option. Faxing is an option. But regular U.S. mail is also an option, and we allow anyone who's interested to call our office or come by, and we have a staff that will walk them through the entire process. And then once they get their ballot in the mail, they can get assistance at home, they can fill it out, they can mail it back to us, they can drop it off to us, they can send it by a family member back to us. So the computer aspect of it is probably the least aspect of it, because if someone is really interested in voting by mail, we can make that as painless as possible if they would simply call our office or contact our office.
Now, here's where I have an issue with the mail-in balloting. We all know some of our mail is 2 weeks late now getting to us. Do you have those issues that you're worried about right now?
Well, we do. You know, when you hear the national news and you hear the things that are going on with the postal system, and many people have experienced it just in dealing with their daily life. But we have constant communications with the Postal Service. By we, I mean the electoral apparatus, and we're constantly going back and forth. They're constantly assuring us that they can handle what we put out. We haven't had major issues in the past. One of the things that you've noticed in the emergency order that the Secretary has proposed, right now, you have within 4 days of the election to request a ballot. To us, that's a little short because of that very issue that you raised. So one of the proposals was to extend that back to 10 days to allow for more time for the Postal Service to get that ballot to us. And it's very important that that ballot get to us because the deadline is 4:30 the day before the election.
Gotcha.
You know, that's quite a bit of time, but that's also a short bit of time if you're very late in requesting your ballot. I would suggest anyone who's interested, request your ballot now.
Yes,
do it
definitely.
Today.
Let me ask you about the satellite office for early voting. Some Caddo commissioners have asked that you open a satellite office at the downtown location is not convenient to all. What's the process for getting that done? Obviously, it's going to cost some money. Are you in favor of it?
It's a difficult process because of the timing. The current legislation allows each registrar to set up one additional what's called a branch location for early voting. So currently we're authorized to do one. In some of the initial discussions we held with the parish commissioners and parish administration, what we did not sense was a collective vision of where that one site should be. So me and my idea to defer to the parish commission, I indicated that I would not establish a branch location unless the parish could agree upon where it should be. One of the reasons for that is because the parish has to pay for it. The parish funds our operations. They fund everything that we do in conjunction with the Secretary of State. So we've had some discussions on that process. We are not aware as of right now whether or not the parish has come to an agreement on where they'd like to see that location. Once they do that, it will be up to my office in conjunction with the Secretary of State's office to see whether or not that particular location will work. So we're currently authorized one. The issue has been basically reaching agreement on where that one should be, and I did not think it was appropriate for me as a non-elected official to make that decision on my own.
If the commission passes it and says, here's where we want it, we're going to fund it, do you have to do it?
No.
Okay, so you could say, no, I'm not.
Yes.
Do you have to give them
right.
pardon me, do you have to give them a reason? Could you say not enough time, not enough people, not enough how
Bad
would that
location,
work?
yeah.
How would that work
Right.
exactly?
I would give a reason. As I said, under the statute, I'm authorized to do it, and only I'm authorized to do it. Recognizing my relationship with the Parish Commission and the importance of the Parish Commission to what I do, I just feel it's important that we all reach agreement on that issue. If they came forward with a location and we went out to evaluate that location in conjunction with the Secretary of State and either logistically or some other reason it could not work, there is a need for a specific type line that's dedicated to the machine so that the security of the vote is guaranteed. If we can't make those things happen, then we would respectfully tell them that we cannot do it. The other issue, as you indicated, is time. We are expecting to get 12 to 15,000 mail-in ballots here around the middle of September, and we have to start getting those ballots out for some of the very reasons that you mentioned.
Do you have
earlier.
a pre-evaluation opinion, or would your opinion depend on where the location was?
It would depend on where the location is, because if we can make it work logistically, then it's a very strong possibility.
Is there a chance they might call you and say, Dale, what do you think? Where's a good spot that you could agree to?
They proposed the fairgrounds. Have you looked at that yet?
No, we haven't. We haven't looked at anything yet because we've not received any sort of official proposal. I have had discussions with individual commissioners on different locations, and I simply give them the perspective on what we would need to make it happen. But I have not suggested, nor would I suggest a particular location. Our focus, honestly, is on making it happen where we currently have to make it happen. That's within our office downtown, and we're doing all we can to make sure that we can do that, which is our fundamental mission, before we start expanding into anything else.
Caddo Parish Registrar of Voters Dale Sibley. Thank you, Mr. Dale. We'll
Thanks,
see
Dale.
you. If you want to hang out, I'll be at the cafeteria.
You're very welcome. Y'all
Take
have
care.
a good day.